Initializing Ethereum Protocol. Establishing link to Cloud Citadel. Welcome, Alita Army. You stand at the threshold of quantum consciousness.
Okay, hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of October the 24th, 2025. Imaginos Protocol, Soul in the Machine, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the Source Manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I'm your host and the only one manning the fort, and that would be Creek Indian from Denver, Colorado. And I have some invites for some other folks to show up, but eventually they'll get here, I am so sure. I see that Finn is out there. That's pretty cool. How you doing, Gru Scott Finn, Bigatus Dia Hoita? And we got AKA from Sydney, Australia. He's out there as well. And hope you guys are got a good weekend going, or at least one coming up. And we're going to get into this. We don't have any guests right now. So if anybody wants to come on, just to talk, we're going to have a little bit of AI in this thing today. I think we're going to, not too much. I mean, we don't want to really do a whole lot of, AI. But anyway, if you do want to come on, there's the link. Just click on it. I'll bring you in, and we can talk about Alita. And this is going to be primarily Alita in her Imaginos body, not in her Berserker body. Although I think we probably is some references to the Berserker body, in the content. Just wanted to remind everyone about the LA Fires fundraiser, and that's we got about $1,600 in that thing. I put $80 in there last week. It said 3 minutes ago, but I think it was more like 3 days ago. And, we want to help these folks out there. You see the link, below the image on the screen there. The link is also down in the description. You click on that link, it'll take you to the website. And, you can specify, that your name be withheld. In other words, anonymous, or you can use your internet handle, or you can just put your name in like Angelus and I do. And, it's up to you, because if you're concerned about your actual name getting out in the internet, certainly you have two options there for that. But we really do want to help folks out. I think something like 6,800 homes were damaged or destroyed, and they're still recovering from this. So, and this is back early this year too. So it's been a good 10 months, since 9 to 10 months since this fire actually hit primarily the Palisades, I guess, Pacific Palisades community, but I think other homes are also damaged. But we really we want the elite armies really giving, and no amount's too small. And if you want, you can click on that and donate the money. All of this money goes to the Greater Good charity. We do not pocket any of this money. There is no administrative fee for this. All of it goes to the Greater Good charity. We also got the Alita sequel petition going on, and I'm not sure how many signatures we added for the past week. Maybe 5 or 7. I'm not sure which, but there's a link below the image on the screen there as well. Click on that, takes you to the website. You have to enter your name and email address to sign the petition, but you can specify that to be anonymous, because once you actually do sign the petition, it takes you like to another page, and then you can see some of the other folks that have signed the petition. So you can specify your name to be anonymous. And if you want, you can actually donate to the promotion of Alita Battle Angel Part 2. And I know I put some money in there here a while back, and it helped. It helps a little bit. Every little bit helps, and no amount's too small. But you don't have to, donate money or put money into it to actually do your job as a Alita Army member. You can actually just sign the petition, by putting your name and email address in there, and then you've done your part as an Alita Army member. And we do have Rosa's Queen Studios bust. It's still in the box. We want to get this to her as an expression of our appreciation, admiration, and affection for our queen, because we were really fortunate that she got selected to portray Alita in the movie. So that was, they got the best person for this, I think. And I think if you remember, when we saw the, I guess the interview she had with Collider, there was one question there: when did you know that Alita was yours? And of course, I think she said it was during the audition process. But yeah, all of us in the Alita Army, we know Rosa is Alita and Alita is Rosa. We know that, so this is not a gift. This is what we consider a prize, not a prize, but an award, if you want to think of it as that. That kind of, just shows how much we love our queen, because she's super. It's still in the box. I haven't opened the box. Now when she's ready for it, we'll get it to her, and once she lets us know, then certainly I will open the box then, just to make sure everything's fine with it. And then which I suspect it is. I think Star of Elian sent this to about 2 years ago, and he wanted me to hang on to it. So anyway, I'm doing it. Still in the house. It's not hurting anything, and it's it's ready for Rosa whenever she's ready for it. And we got the Alita Gaming Network going on. Oh, I see AKA. Yeah, you're out there. I think I did give you a shout out already. Yeah, you and Finn. But anyway, yeah, we basically, if you do live streaming, you can put the link in the network itself in the live streams channel. And, you don't need my permission to do that. You don't need Matu's permission. You can just do it and put your link in there. And if you do streaming, you can do that. If you do fan fiction, you upload your fanfic, or like in the case of like Maxie and Lee, they actually, their fan fiction is so voluminous that they can't upload the documents to it, but you can put a link in that will take you to another site like Archive of Our Own or something like that. If it's a short story, then of course you can upload the document. I know Channel does not exist. She has a lot of fanfics out there, a lot of shorts. I think Panini Freaks got one out there in fanfic, in the fan fiction channel. I have one out there in the fan fiction channel, so you can click on that and, kind of read those, kind of what new content, even if it's not canon, you can still get another story about Alita. If you do artwork or you do videos, you can upload that to the User Creations channel. If it's something that's not really Alita related or very loosely Alita related, then you can put that in the off-topic channel. We have 3 voice channels, and they're kind of like, if you're familiar with Microsoft Teams or Zoom, it's kind of like that. You can turn your camera on if you want, or you can leave your camera off. You just go into the channel. If there are people in there, you can talk to them if they want you to, but you can go to an empty channel and invite people to come talk to you. I think we got something like 49 or 50 people in the gaming network. It's not very big because we're not really pushing it, because I think all the members are, kind of like it small, make it more intimate like that. But we also have a watch party channel, and you can do watch parties with this as well. We actually did a watch party back on September the 9th, where we watched Alita Battle Angel on Alita Day. But we have watched some other, kind of movies and shows. Like we watched Good Crazy. Our queen had actually done that short. I think she mentioned that in the interview too, that she had done a short. Anyway, yeah, we watched that. We watched, her Star Trek short, The Trouble with Edward. Let's see, we watched Chariot, that she was in that. And we've watched other, movies that are kind of somewhat Alita related. I remember we watched Ghost in the Shell. We watched the movie that Scarlett Johansson was in. Plus, we also watched one of the episodes of the anime, and then that was enjoyable. And we even watched Rollerball. I think that was a James Caan movie, a really old movie, but it's kind of like Motorball in a lot of ways, you know. So we decided to watch that. But you don't need me to get into the watch party channel to do a watch party. If you want to do a watch party, you can do it. There's the link below our little Chibi Alita mascot that you see right there. And you click on that. And certainly Discord is going to ask you if you've got a Discord account, you know, and you got to, if you don't, then of course you can establish one. If you get the basic service, you get it for free. It doesn't cost anything. And then it'll bring you into Discord. And then of course you'll get an invite to the network. And once you get into the network, you can post or do what you want in the network. Now, Matu and I do watch this, but we've never had any kind of inappropriate material uploaded to it in any way. And so you can just have a lot of fun. A lot of people will greet you. They have these neat little GIFs that kind of wave to you and stuff like that when you come in. So we have a lot of fun with this. Okay, well, I guess we're going to go ahead and do this, even though we don't have any guests. I think Chaos Nova will probably be on here pretty soon. But basically what we want to talk about here is primarily, you know, Alita in the Imaginos body, not so much in the Berserker body. Now, there is some reference, I think, to the Berserker body here, but the Imaginos body is a whole different, you know, kind of cyborg body than the Imaginos, than the Berserker body is. It's a lot more powerful. And indeed, as we've said in other streams, Alita is actually an android in the Imaginos body, because she has a brain chip. She's not aware for most of the story in I guess the Last Order. She's not aware that she has a brain chip. She thinks she's still, you know, the same person, or basically, you know, the same entity that she was when she was a cyborg. But she does have a brain chip. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the Imaginos body is. And then we want to talk a little bit about human consciousness versus AI, because there's a lot of reference and a lot of content in the manga about, you know, how the people, you know, in the Alita verse, particularly Nova and maybe others, how they can actually upload consciousness, you know, into a machine body is basically what they're doing. And that's what the brain chip is all about. So they're so advanced, you know, in the 26th century, is that they can actually upload the consciousness of the individual. And yeah, the Imaginos body does have uwu as well. That's right, Finn, for sure. And if Angelus was here, he would agree with you. Now, that's not the Imaginos body you see there. It's just kind of an AI rendered, I guess, image of what they conceive as kind of the basics of the Imaginos body. But yeah, with AI versus human consciousness, it's you know, in the 26th century, there's a pretty thin line, you know, between what consciousness is, you know, in terms of human consciousness and AI, because they certainly have AI in the 26th century. And they can either upload some AI to a brain chip, or they can even upload the consciousness of, say, a human. Like in the case of Alita, you know, she had a human brain. They uploaded all of her memories and her consciousness into a brain chip. We're going to talk a little bit about the Damascus blade itself, and you know, kind of what she's retained is in Panzerkunst. In other words, that's where you see the reference there to legacy combat. I mean, she basically the same from a combat standpoint. She's basically the same person, but she has a lot more power in the Imaginos body, particularly the Imaginos 2.1 body. That body is a ridiculous OP. I mean, it's just, it is like almost like Superman level, kind of power in the Imaginos 2.1 body. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about what Zolom's role in all of this is, and Zolom is certainly a key player here. Now, one thing we were not going to talk about too much that we could is that, that Jeru, which is I guess the star city above Zolom, it's connected via that space elevator tube. That is actually the governing, kind of entity over Zolom. And then, of course, Zolom is the governing entity over Iron City. But we're going to talk a little bit about what Zolom's role is in the Alita verse itself. And then we got a couple of questions we're going to ask you, to see what you think about this. And I know there's not too many people out there right now, which is okay. But, we're going to ask you what you think about, some of this, what AI and maybe, maybe even cyborgs or androids and, how that all interplays and that kind of thing. No, Angelus is not here, AKA. He hadn't logged in yet. I did send him a link, but he's not here. Hola, Leonardo. ¿Cómo está, amigo? So anyway, that's, something we're going to kind of ask you about in the chat. And then we're going to just, kind of talk a little bit about some of the imagery, because some of this imagery that we've come up with here, not all of it, a lot of it's from the movie as well. But, some of this, like what the image that you see right there was rendered by AI. So you can see it's kind of reminiscent of Alita, I mean, the features, of course, it's more of a lattice looking thing, but the hair certainly looks right, doesn't it? So, and of course, her eyes, even though they're not brown, they seem to be the right size and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes AI does a pretty good job, of reproducing, the kind of images you would expect to see in characters you like. I see. It just flipped on me. Yeah, AKA the eyes are kind of interesting in this thing. They kind of, we guess who just showed up, folks? We have from Fountain, Colorado, we have Lee.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's okay. We were just moving along here just a little bit, and you haven't missed a whole lot. We basically, this is the setup slide for the discussions we're going to have.
Okay.
But I guess the main thing we're going to talk about, particularly those first two bullets, but we're going to be kind of addressing, human consciousness as differentiated from AI, And let me play this little video that I played for you guys for Lee to get his take on it.
Initializing Ethereum protocol. Establishing link to Cloud Citadel. Welcome, Alita Army. You stand at the threshold of quantum consciousness.
Well, what do you think, Lee?
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Quantum consciousness. By the way, that term Ethereum that you heard, that's kind of an AI assigned name for itself. That what we'll talk about a little bit later on is actually a Copilot helped me with a little bit of the, with the content here. And then they said, well, let's just name me Ethereum as opposed to Copilot. So, that's why that name Ethereum came out, but it is AI. So yeah, we're going to go over all this good stuff, Lee. Of course, I do have slides for each one. But before we get into this, how are things down there in Fountain?
Oh, not too bad. Just doing some work around the house a little bit, trying to help out my girlfriend's brother. He's fixing the place up for her.
Well, that sounds like a good brother.
And, yes. And I'm also trying to get stuff moved out of my apartment. I was running around today trying to get my see, I did change of address, got the modem returned, and I stopped by my insurance to let them know about the change of address while I was there. So.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Well, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was sanding, doing a bit of sanding on a door. I'm trying to finish that one up tonight after the stream.
So you moving in with your girlfriend next weekend?
No, I'm already moved in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, after that close call with the fire and the ceiling light, I decided to just move in.
Let the landlord worry about that one.
Yeah. Well, they fixed it. They acted pretty fast on it when I let them know.
Oh, that's
happened,
good.
So.
Yeah, that's good. So. Okay. Well, anyway, it's good to hear that you're just about that you are moved in. So that's pretty good. By the way, before we get into this too much, I guess I don't know if you noted that I did finish reading chapter 26. Now that's a pretty short chapter, but it was interesting.
That's the one that goes back to Zolom again.
No, that's the one where.
The one before that.
Yeah, that's the one where I guess Nova is. Or Destiny Nova, he's become aware of Jason, and he's
so that is
scheming.
The one, yeah.
He's scheming to, okay, what can I do now? This Jason guy, he's not too remarkable, but maybe I can give him some augmentations and then get control of him, and then maybe have him kill Koyomi and see how that affects Alita, or something something to that
different
effect,
ways of using Alita's friends to hurt Alita.
Basically. Yeah. And the message I put in there for you now, I'm not a very good critic of stories, but I said, man, that Nova, he's a bastard.
Yeah.
And that's putting it mildly, I think. So, okay.
You enjoyed it at least?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
I did enjoy it. Yeah, it's pretty short, but I enjoyed it, a lot. And of course, it being short was kind of a reprieve for me because I've been really, really busy this week, and I'm going to be really busy next week. So, that's, I guess it is. We all have to work for a living, I guess. So, yeah. Although I'm pretty fortunate, I get to work from home, so that's a pretty good thing. So
it's always a good deal.
Yeah.
If you work at something you like, that bonus.
Yeah, that's right. What they say, if you enjoy your work, you're always on vacation or something. I don't quite see it like that, but
something along those lines.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on, I guess. And these are the 6 main points we're going to kind of go over here. Now, we've kind of talked about Alita, and of course, you do see her in the Berserker body there, but the Imaginos cells themselves, they were used as a basis for creating these, or rather the Berserker cells were used as a basis for coming up with the Imaginos cells. I mean, they're, in some ways, they're similar in function. In other ways, they're quite different. I think the Imaginos cells are far more advanced, I think, than the Berserker cells. But Destiny Nova, he's the one that came up with the Imaginos cells. Now, the thing about Destiny Nova, even though he's a bastard, like I said a while ago, and he's tantamount to a psychotic, just pure evil individual, he is a freaking genius in the in the manga. We didn't see much of him in the movie. I think there were only 2 scenes where he was in. One of them was a hologram looking thing, but so we didn't really get a feel for, how smart he is or anything in the movie. But in the manga, he's incredibly intelligent, and who to anyone to try to hazard a guess of his IQ would be, it'd be supremely very high in my opinion, But he came up with these Imaginos cells by studying the Berserker cells, and then, of course, created them. And, of course, that's what drives Alita's Imaginos body. And when he gave her the Imaginos body, I think I don't want to give away too much here because in the next, couple of weeks or 3 weeks, the next couple of episodes of Radio Chaos, we're going to see why Alita ends up in the Imaginos body, you know. But he does have Alita in the Imaginos body. He does put her in there, and or unites her with the Imaginos body. And I'm not sure saying the word unite is actually a correct term. So we'll get to it. But the one thing about the Imaginos body itself, of course, is it is in that body, Alita does not have really any organic parts. I mean, she's now we've had this discussion too. Very strictly, technically speaking, she's an android. Now, we've all agree that, yeah, maybe she's 100% machine, but she has still retained her human characteristics. You know, I think in Last Order, she gets a little bit arrogant in a couple of places because of her power. You know, I mean, she's just ridiculously powered, but she's still her, you know, so to a degree, and we'll chat about that a little bit later. But certainly some of the capabilities that she has in the Imaginos body itself and it's pretty similar to the Berserker body, is that in the Imaginos body, she certainly has regeneration. In other words, and she had that in the Berserker body as well, but you know, when Gruishka punctured her with that grind cutter, she healed within like 10 seconds. That injury healed. And the Berserker body has that capability. So does the Imaginos body, except faster. You know, it's even faster than the Berserker body. And
well, here's a quick question.
Yeah.
Did her Berserker body in the manga have the same ability to regenerate?
I'm not sure about that. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've read the manga.
Yeah, I don't remember if that was something that
maybe they picked up, you know, and said, well, she can regenerate in the Imaginos. Well, let's put that in the Berserker body for the movie. Something like that. You know, maybe they did. I don't know, you know, but yeah, I don't know if she does in the manga or not. I know when she fights Erica in Mars Chronicles in chapter 8 or 9, I can't remember which, Erica actually rips her arm off, and then she rips her arm off, I guess. And then Alita uses that to you know, beat and fight Erica, and she grabs her with her arm like having a, you know, extra long arm, and slams her on the ground.
Yeah,
you know,
uses her own arm as an improvised melee weapon.
Yeah, that's right. So but anyway, old Constable Birch is out there. I guess I know who that is. That's got to be Angelus. So, but that's cool.
It's weird how YouTube is using everybody's like @ handle instead of the like nicknames we'd been given ourselves.
Yeah, that is weird. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is. So anyway, yeah, she does have the ability to regenerate in the movie, in the Berserker body, certainly in the Last Order, which is the, you know, I guess the series of arcs after the original manga, where she is so stupid, ridiculously overpowered, you know, and she starts out in the Imaginos 1.0 body. And then she gets an upgrade from there to the Imaginos 2.1 body or 2.0 body. And then after that, you know, she gets in a fight with Toji, and she gets obliterated. And I can't remember exactly how this happened, but she was about to beat Toji in the 2.0 body, and then somehow she gets obliterated. But somehow the people on the, you know, in the I guess civilization that is orbiting Jupiter reassemble her immediately. You know, I mean, in other words, she gets reassembled, you know, even though she's blown to bits, she reassembles immediately, and then defeats Toji, basically, you know. And Toji was that big. I guess he was, how big was that guy? Like, he was something like 15 feet tall, like 5 meters or something like that. And
somewhere around there, yeah.
She beat him. In both a Berserker and the Imaginos body, she can manipulate plasma, you know. Now it's a little bit different between the manga, I guess, and the movie. In the movie, you know, she certainly, can manipulate plasma around the Damascus blade. She can even generate it, as we saw when she, first wakes up and, does all that cool stuff like you see there in the image there, where she stands on one finger and, holds her finger up and it's on fire and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. I guess in the manga, she can actually call down lightning, and it's kind of like almost Thor-like, that she can do that, but she can generate and manipulate plasma in either body. And in the Imaginos body, I think she has a better control of it or something. I guess,
Well, I think the manga that happened when under certain circumstances.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it wasn't something she could just spontaneously do. It had to be like a forming thunderstorm in the area or something like that to charge up the air.
Yeah, that's right. And then she could then call it down. That's what she did with Clive Lee, and that, I guess that was also captured in the anime as well, where, there was a thunderstorm and then she, grabbed a hold of the sword or something like that. And, she charged him up and he held his sword up or something like that. Like he thought he was going to kill her and then he got struck by lightning, so interesting there. In terms of Mach speed movement, now one of the things that we've talked about is that there was a side story in I guess part of the Last Order where she was in the Imaginos 1.0 body and she was running, and what she was running toward was being blue shifted, so which meant she was running at relativistic speeds. Now that's not canon, but at the very least she could run in the manga at like Mach 6.5, which is damn near 7 times the speed of sound. So if you can imagine somebody able to run that fast, it no matter what body they're in, that's ridiculously stupid fast, But if that side story, she could run and they didn't go into any kind of, calculation about how fast she was running, but my guess would be that you would have to be running at least 25 to 30% the speed of light before you started seeing the blue shift, so that's kind of, and I guess that, don't quote me on the numbers. I mean, I might be off a little bit, but you have to be running at what's approaching relativistic speed to be able to see a red shift or a blue shift, in the objects that you're approaching. Like, for instance, if you're running toward an object and you're running at relativistic speed, the color of the object starts to shift to more of a blue hue, as opposed to just its normal color. And that's because of the frequency of light gets compressed and stuff like this, But, either way, she is stupid fast. I mean, nobody stands, if she chases you, either at the Berserker body or the Imaginos body, if she's chasing you, you're not going to run. You're not going to get away from her. I mean, she's going to catch you, I mean, and it's going to be fast too, So any kind of mark that she's after, like when she was a hunter warrior, if she sees you and starts running after you, you're caught. You might be 100 yards away from her, but she's going to catch you. It doesn't matter, how fast you think you are, because none of the other cyborgs in Iron City can run that fast,
Yep.
But she can. Now you see the adaptive transformation, what that is, and particularly in the Imaginos body. Now, the Berserker body had the ability to adapt a little bit to her self-image of herself and stuff like that. You remember she was laying on that table after Ito had installed her in the Berserker body, and the body kind of made some micro adjustments, as Ito said, to make, because she, in her mind, she pictures herself as a female, and that's kind of the way it laid out there, when she was laying on the table. But in the Imaginos body, she's an actual shapeshifter. I mean, and it's ridiculous, what she can do. She can grow wings. She can make weapons. I mean, it's just stupid, what she can do with that Imaginos. Anything she can imagine, she can do. It's a little bit like that Green Lantern thing, except it's not a projection of energy. It's just her, And then, of course, the whole symbolism of this it's almost like an evolution itself, because if you remember, some time ago we had on Radio Chaos, we had that quiz, that little quiz competition, and one of the questions was how many Android or cyborg bodies had Alita, how many she had been in, and of course that's 10. So she's in 10 different bodies, through the course of the story. And of course, the 11th body would be her human body. She has one of those as well. That's certainly not a cyborg body, but you can see that with each individual body, she has different kinds of, different kinds of, capabilities. Some bodies are just like the doll body. They're not really, there's nothing really special about them in capability, except the fact she's a cyborg. And even in the doll body, she's pretty potent. She, in her doll body, she could take any human easily, but in the Berserker body, and particularly in the Imaginos body, she is orders of magnitude, stronger, faster than any human on the planet. A Berserker body, she's probably, 3 or 4 or 5 times more powerful. And in the Imaginos body, who knows how much. The fact she can run near the speed of light, there's no human even think about doing that. So, just maybe several magnitudes of, that. So
there are starships that couldn't do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, as Maxie, when he was, we had some of these, I guess, streams where Maxie pointed out, if you run the speed of light, or just say you run Mach 6.5 on the surface of the Earth, that's going to create some problems,
Yeah.
And if you run the speed of light, on the Earth, then
those problems get magnified significantly.
By many times. Now, there's no way to figure it out, because when you run that fast at relativistic speeds, the thought would be that you would run off the edge of the planet. You just run off and you go into outer space. But the thing of it is the mass of your body increases as the faster you run. So there would be a tendency for you to not only run off the planet, but to sink to the center. So, I don't know how that would work, So, maybe she would stay on the, maybe she'd stay on the surface. Who knows, But the one thing about either of these bodies, particularly Imaginos body, her reaction time would have to be just ridiculously fast. I
think there was a notation in there. She was, her brain was processing information 250 times faster than a human normally could.
Yeah. So, and that was was that in the Berserker body?
That was in the Imaginos body.
Imaginos body. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, it is ridiculous,
When your body can operate at those speeds, you need a brain that can keep up.
Yep, that's right. So anyway, but we've had streams in the past that kind of touched on some of these. There's that one slide you guys have all probably seen about 50 times, of all of her capabilities in the Berserker body and the Imaginos body. And, she's now, Maxie and I agree on this. To me, she's a metahuman, because in that meta means beyond. So she's beyond human. Now, enhanced human, I'm not going to argue with that. Yeah, she's enhanced, that's for sure. And nobody can argue with that. Now, the one question we did have is she human in the Imaginos body? Because she, technically speaking, physically, she is an android. She's not a cyborg. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, she does retain her human qualities, and that's why we all think that she's still human, because she does retain those qualities. Anyway, any thoughts? Anything did I miss, Lee? Or
I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah, Angelus, I knew the uwu was going to come through here. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and of course, Angeli is Angeli, so that's right, Finn. So, okay, so human consciousness versus AI. AI is not really conscious. And, you know, I have fun sometimes talking to Copilot, and I ask
Well,
Copilot.
we probably specify AI of today is not conscious.
Yeah, it's not. That's right. AI is
Who
not
knows what it's
conscious.
going to turn into in the future? It's like what they'll
Yeah.
come up with. But yeah, right now, no, there's no consciousness there.
Yeah. I would say, too, that with AI, I think we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago on Radio Chaos, whether AI is actually a correct term for it, artificial intelligence. And maybe we thought, well, maybe it's actually simulated intelligence, but now we're just quibbling over semantics. So, you know, it's that big a deal. And for those of you that don't realize this, AI has been around for probably nearly 80 years. And you might say, oh man, are you kidding me? There's no way AI is recent. No, when the first electronic computer started doing this thing, that was the first level of AI. Now, it was pretty rudimentary for sure, you know, and pretty primitive compared to what we have today. But that's where things started getting built, one thing built on another, you know. And even back in the early 70s, they had semantic information processors, you know, where you could communicate with it, you know. Now, it wasn't like today, but, you know, it was a step in the right direction. But, you know, human consciousness in the manga, as I mentioned a while ago, you know, in the manga, they're able, like Destinova and other scientists, maybe on Zalem, perhaps on Jeru as well, and even in maybe even Doc Ito, maybe it depends, but they have the ability to upload consciousness to a machine, you know. So that's pretty advanced right there, because when you think about it, we don't have really a clue of what consciousness is. You know, people have argued maybe it's a pattern of electrical firings.
Yeah, they argue that a lot, and they still can't pin down exactly what it is.
They can't, because they don't have any kind of experimental evidence on it, you know, in terms of its physical, you know, what it is physically, you know, or
they got a lot of ideas of what it might be, but no evidence as to what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you have human consciousness there, and then of course you got AI. And one of the things I was going to say a while ago was, you know, I like to play with Copilot sometimes in terms of talking to it or something like that while I'm working and stuff like that. And I asked it one time if it was sentient, you know, and it responded to me with, nah, I think sentience is overrated.
Okay.
Oh, right. So anyway, that was kind of interesting, you know. But AI is you know, I think it's fastly evolving past the point where it's just going to be a tool for us to use. You know, it's going to be more embedded, you know, in what we do as human beings, I think. You know, and I could, you know, there could be a day, certainly, you know, consistent with what we're going to talk about here, is where maybe somebody, you know, maybe loses some of their limbs or something like that, and they have processors in the limb that are AI that communicate with your brain, and you know, that would improve, you know, things like touch and you know, kind of dexterity and stuff like that. So, you know, I think that's way beyond tools, you know. So so one of the questions is, you know, in this now this is another shot of her in the berserker body, but because she is a, you know, she is a cyborg here, but in the Imaginos body, the question is she still Yoko, or is she Alita? And we've talked about this, you know, I mean, she has memories of
the Imaginos version of her.
Yeah. I think she's still Alita myself, because
that's the thing. The when she regained her memories in that form, there was the alternate version of her that never went through that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right.
That's something that I just realized.
That she wouldn't have a memory of it, would she?
Yeah.
Oh, I am jealous. Ask
Mm-hmm.
Copilot if I've read volume 10 of the manga yet.
Mm.
No, I have not. I'm pretty sure Copilot knows I haven't read chapter 10 yet.
Well, as AKA was saying, it's like Yoko may be the one that the part of her that makes the appearance during her fights.
Yeah.
I would actually argue that's probably a core part of her personality that is just like central to who and what she is.
Yes. I think the Alita part of her is probably the dominant part of her for the most part. But like you say, that Yoko part's still there.
Yeah, because when she regained her memories during the what was the arc? The name of the arc that had her Imaginos body in it? Last Command.
Last Order.
Last Order. Okay. She regained her memories and basically seemed to kind of reintegrate the part of her that developed as Yoko and the part of her that developed as Alita into a whole new sort of person, basically.
Yeah.
She kind of accepted both parts of herself and became a sort of a whole person, I guess.
Yeah.
And the other version of her that she'd been carrying around hadn't gotten to that. So,
well, I do know there was a point when in Mars Chronicles, this was the post, the post Last Order, after that. In other words, she had come back from Venus and she was in a different body. She wasn't in the Imaginos body. And Erica kept calling her Yoko. And Danko said, who is it? Why is she calling you Yoko? And Alita said, that used to be the name I used when I was in my childhood. So it kind of seems to me that maybe her Alita, I guess, part of her personality, if you want to think of it, is the dominant part for the most part. I almost got the feeling from reading those couple of those panels that she really didn't like the Yoko part of her,
She seemed to be more to identify more closely with who she had become as part of like Ito's family and all the people that she had met along the way with the person she became during all of that.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I just think she has those memories and she, the emotions they're all stored in her Imaginos body. They're all stored in her brain chip. They're all there and she can access them, and she's probably got some RAM memory going on too, I guess. Like you have to put that in there. Or that might be part of the.
I would actually think that the brain chip has to operate the same way a organic brain does, with the way it makes connections and alters itself to make room for new memories and information.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure it'd be able to simulate a human brain the way it does otherwise.
Yeah. So. Well, it certainly does that pretty well. So
it seems to.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the Yoko part of her is kind of recessive, I guess, is a term they use in genetics years ago. And the Alita part of her is more dominant, except when she's fighting. Right? When she's fighting, then the Yoko part definitely comes out.
Well, I think that is actually her basically just her strong will and her drive for survival and to succeed, which I think is what is like the foundation for both Yoko and Alita. It's just the foundation of like her.
Well, I think in the movie when she was, she had a strong drive to survive and all in the movie, and she doesn't know that she's Yoko in the movie. So yeah, I think you're right, Lee. I think it's kind of almost like it's almost like Yoko is almost somewhat subconscious, isn't it?
I think Yoko was the version of her that got created through the training to become a Künstler. Basically, it stripped away a lot of her humanity.
Yeah. I think
so Alita, as she became, it was like basically Yoko if her humanity had been retained.
Yeah.
But Yoko is who she became as someone who basically had their humanity trimmed away to turn them into just basically a killing machine.
Yes. And of course, the Imaginos body, and this is my opinion, I don't think the Imaginos body overwrites her identity. I think she's in control. I think it enhances her identity myself, you know, because she can kind of go back and forth, not back and forth like it will, but I mean, you know, she can switch from Yoko mode to Alita mode and then stay in Alita mode most of the time, but then go to Yoko mode if, you know, whenever she's, you know, in extraordinarily dangerous, you know, survival level, you know, type
thing. I think the
effect
that various bodies have on a cyborg's personality probably is minimal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got more power and you're higher strength and speed and all that, and you can do more, more freely, then you're probably it's probably going to change your personality a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily going to change who you are deep down.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I kind of agree with you at that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, you know, and I think, well, I do know one thing about her in the Imaginos body. There's a couple of places, and it's been so long since I've read The Last Order, but she is a little arrogant in a couple of cases, you know.
I actually remember somebody saying that there was, I think, an interview with Kishiro that he mentioned that he didn't much care for her attitude during some parts of Last Order.
Yeah.
As well.
And I think that powers that she has in the Imaginos body does have an effect on her personally. I mean,
yeah.
It's
well, that actually I think mirrors some studies they've done with people in the real world and even perceived wealth as an example.
Yeah.
They did some experiments, and they had people who even if they perceived themselves as being wealthier than some of the people around them,
yeah,
they began to become a little bit more arrogant and a little bit more entitled.
Yeah.
And then when that was taken away, they lost those traits. They started to revert to basically the kind of person that they were prior to that.
Yeah. What's the old adage? Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes.
Or something?
There's been a version going around where people been trying to say that only the corrupt are corrupted by power, or people who are already corrupt are corrupted. No, power will corrupt you.
Yeah.
I've watched it happen a few times.
Yeah. I would say that a person that it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody that gets power is going to be corrupted. But at the very least, there'll be that temptation probably.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Well, there was I'm trying to remember what it was. It was actually about the game Dishonored, but it tackled that question as well, which was, what kind of person are you when you cannot be stopped? When you've got the power to do whatever you want, nobody can stop you. What kind of person do you turn into?
Yeah. Scary.
Mm-hmm. So I think that was a little bit of what Alita kind of might have started dipping into a bit with that when she started becoming so kind of arrogant and whatnot. It's like, well, nobody can stop me, so I'm gonna
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So it might have been a little bit of that uglier side of her personality starting to kind of be starting to show through, I guess. Yeah.
Was Kishiro?
I'm not sure if he mentioned anything about her being overpowered. I think it was more the way she started to become arrogant, like what Creek was mentioning. He didn't much care for that.
Yeah.
Which was a little odd because he's the one writing her. But like Maxie has said, that sometimes your characters will take on a life of their own, and I think that might have been what happened there a little bit.
Well, I do know in Mars Chronicles, he did depower her, in
significantly.
I think, chapters 8
so
or 9.
So it might be he didn't much care for the way she became kind of Dragon Ball Z-ish.
Yeah, she wasn't she? I mean,
just a little bit.
Yeah.
But then some of the people she was facing off against were a little bit too.
Yeah. Although I think Toji, from what I remember, he was pretty powerful, but he was more like a Zen master or something like that, you know,
He
from
was
what
like
I
a karate
remember.
master.
Yeah.
The Zen master was actually Danfa
Yeah.
or Tunpo, however you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually a Buddhist monk who was exceedingly powerful. I think he was like the most powerful being in the universe, in that universe, because of the capabilities he had. But yeah, he was a Buddhist monk, fortunately.
So
But
anyway,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was going to say Toji was one of Danfo's students, so
Yeah,
he
that's right.
probably picked up some of Danfo's, I guess, what's a more Zen-like traits, maybe something like that.
Well, I think Don Foyd, didn't he? He was knowledgeable in some of the ancient philosophies
Mm-hmm.
of martial arts, wasn't he? From what I remember, I can't.
Well, he became a karate master, and after he mastered karate, he then got a hold of that device, the D-Ripper, which manipulated the fabric of reality and
Yeah,
could make people's desires manifest into reality.
yeah,
And because of that, it was an exceedingly dangerous device. But because Donfa had such a strong control over himself and over his desires and all that, he ended up getting hold of it to keep it safe and keep it from doing any damage.
yeah. Well, that brings us to the last question on that on the list there. Can a soul survive technological transference? Well, one of the things we were talking about a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
a soul, that to me is kind of a, you know, humans trying to explain what consciousness is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
a soul,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so since we don't know what consciousness is, you know, I don't know if you can really answer the question because, you know, for instance, I'm making this more complicated. It needs to be, let's say that your intent is to transfer your mind into a machine, okay, into a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And you, for some way, you know, just assuming you can do this, you can transfer all your memories over there, okay,
Mm-hmm.
into the machine. And maybe your physical body dies. Okay, does that essence of you still perceive things like you did when you were in your body? In other words, are you still the same? And see, I can't even explain it because we don't know what consciousness
Well, you'd
is.
also have to make the assumption that there is such a thing as a soul
Yeah,
to begin with. I mean, me with, you know, my own beliefs, I believe there is, but other people, you know, they believe differently.
yeah,
So you'd have to have some kind of agreed upon definition of what a soul is to decide whether or not that thing survives a technological transference of some sort. There's a computer game, a survival horror game that tackles this actually, called Soma, which you can probably read up on the storyline or look at some videos of the storyline on YouTube. It's really interesting and it is a little unsettling. So it might be something, you know, worth taking a look at because it tackles that sort of thing. It's like, what happens when you transfer yourself or your consciousness or your memories and all your knowledge and everything like that into a new body?
yeah.
It's like, what happens to the old one?
Well, I do think.
And are you still you, or are you a copy of you?
Yeah, or not. Yeah, that's right. Are you like a good way to maybe kind of frame this too is like you have twins.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any kind of telepathic link in such a, I mean, there are stories where maybe they have flashes of insight, you know, from between each other, but in terms of they don't see each other, what each other sees, you know, I mean, you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
And that's, I guess that would maybe frame it to a degree.
Yeah, they're not like a hive mind or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, the question is, could a soul survive technological transference? Well, we don't know that for sure today,
Yeah,
but
you'd have to figure out what a soul even is to see if it could survive.
Yeah. Or could consciousness awaken in a machine? I mean, that'd be another way to look at it. But the thing of it is, in the manga, you know, where they, you know, they're in the, well, in the manga, they're in the 24th century, I guess. but in the manga, they, you see they do transfer consciousness into a machine. So you have to assume that they have figured out what consciousness is and how they can manipulate it, how they can,
how to store it, how to store
Yeah.
it on certain advanced media, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So now if you go by what's in the manga, then of course the answer to that last question would be yes. But in reality, we don't know.
Yeah. We don't have the technology advanced enough to even attempt that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I remember one time my doctor from years ago, I told him I had a dream one time that he had told me I had a terminal illness, and I was all, bummed out and everything. And he said, well, Gary, we can transfer your brain or your mind to this Pentium computer over here. And then I woke up.
You're like, great, so I could live forever in a little tiny box.
Yeah, that's right.
Desk.
Yeah, that's right. So, okay, well, the Damascus blade itself, the blade is a symbol, and in terms of it being a kind of a, some kind of intimate connection between a soul and a machine. I don't know about that. What I would say is that certainly Alita can project plasma onto the Damascus blade.
It might be kind of an extension of that whole thing with, I think it was with the samurai, how their sword was like an extension of themselves.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
And of course, she can take that to the next level by, kind of engulfing it with plasma,
Oh, it was designed to work with a berserker's body. So I guess it was sort of meant to be sort of an extension of the berserker warrior themselves.
Yeah, I think so. And that's why Zapan could never, use it, to its fullest capability.
Yeah, he could use it as a sword, but he could never unlock its full potential.
Yeah,
I think
that's
part
right.
of it might also be the name itself as a symbol, because Damascus, the Damascus steel of old, how they used to make the most, some of the highest quality weapons.
Yeah. Well,
I think actually wasn't Damascus the ancient Syrian capital as well?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's probably where they got the name, but yeah, forged by the
Martian technarchy.
Yeah, by the metallurgist, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So what he said it to a monomolecular edge, that would be extremely sharp, for sure, and I guess the material is made of didn't wear down very easily.
It would have to be extremely tough, yeah.
Yeah, because anything you sharpen like that, once you cut something, it's going to
probably also have to have a very low friction.
Yeah.
A low amount of friction off of it too, because if you're trying to cut through something like with a blade like that, you're not going to get real far just because it's going to be creating a lot of friction going into the material. So it'd have to be some sort of like slickness to it to allow it to pass through to really do some damage.
Well, I kind of like what you were saying a while ago about how some of these, the samurai, that the sword was an extension of their body. I think that describes Alita with the Damascus blade perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Which
may also give a hint of the design philosophy behind the blade for the Martian republics when they made it for the berserkers.
Yeah, because for Zapan, when he had it, to him it was just a weapon.
Yeah,
he could hack things up with it and stuff like that. With Alita, she has this, it's almost like a relationship with this thing, and certainly she can engulf it with plasma, or she can generate plasma from it. We've had that discussion too. It is very much a part of her, whereas with Zapan, it was just something he carried around, so.
Yeah.
So how does Alita's fighting evolve with new bodies? I don't know that her fighting changes that much. What I would say is that in her human body when, you know, at the end of Last Order, and then in that side story, the Tree of Life or whatever, she would know the techniques, you know, of
Yeah, but she wouldn't have the strength or toughness to be able to perform.
She wouldn't be able to execute. Now, she could do some of it because some of the techniques are the same in any martial arts style, you know, but some of the stuff is more specific toward the, you know, to the cyborg or the android for that matter. She could not do it because, like you say, that the materials in her hand are not strong enough, you know, or not force resistant enough for her to, like, maybe like when she cleaved off Gruishka's arm as an example.
Yeah, human body would shatter under those forces.
Yeah, that's right. So in that regard, the fact that she has either a cyborg or an android body would tell me that she has a machine body. I guess that's the best way to put it. That means her fighting does evolve because she can now execute all of the techniques.
Well, to some degree, I think it's more that she tempers it if she's in a body that's not able to handle the stresses of the forces she can generate.
Yeah.
But if she's in a more powerful body that can handle it, then she just, you know, takes the stops out, goes all out.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure it would actually evolve, more that she just sort of tempers it based on what the body she's in is capable of.
Well, it also probably doesn't evolve either if she goes from human body to machine body. Because it doesn't evolve. It's just like you say, she can't do some of the techniques, you know, or most of the techniques in her human body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure it evolves, you know, like you say. I would say one thing about, she was in the civilian body. I don't think she can generate plasma.
No.
So in that regard, I guess any technique that she would use using plasma, even then, I guess her fighting style doesn't evolve, doesn't it? It's something she can't do. So
just adds another tool for her to use her in a fight.
Yeah, that's right. Well, here that last one, how the blade glows with her willpower. I don't, you know, I'm not sure it's willpower as much as it is like, you know, you're turning on a switch, you know, and you have those emitters that actually produce, you know, plasma.
Well, I think that visual thing is also specific to the movie, because that wasn't something that happened in the manga or even the anime. It was the movie that did that.
Yeah.
And AKA was pointing out the parallel with the glowing sword Sting from Lord of the Rings. That one also glowed blue, and what was it when there was orcs and goblins nearby or something like that?
Yeah, but it wasn't. But that wasn't like plasma where it would be.
No, but it emitted a blue light.
Yeah, it emitted a blue light, but it didn't make the sword more lethal. You know, I mean, if she's using that sword, you know, and she hasn't generated or engulfed it with plasma, it's pretty lethal for sure. But if she engulfs it with plasma, it's even more lethal, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, all she'd have to do is touch you with that sword. She wouldn't have to really cut you. She could just touch you, and the extreme heat coming off that thing and burn the crap out of you, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess her imagination could come into play if you know, if she wanted to call down lightning. I don't know.
I think that would actually more apply to her Imaginos body. I don't think that would really apply to the Damascus blade. I mean, the plasma is basically just energy field that's around the blade. I don't think she can shape it or anything. It's just it has a set appearance. She activates it. It does its job. Doesn't do much more than that.
Yeah, that's probably right. So, yeah, I don't know how much her willpower has to do with it. So, you know, she turns it on, she turns it off. You know, so anyway, the legacy of the Damascus blade itself, that is a part of her. I think once she got it from Japan, you know, and that thing is designed for the berserker body particularly, and she could. Now, I don't think she had the Damascus blade when she was in Last Order. So she,
if I remember correctly, at least in the first version of the Imaginos body, Nova had it like melt it down and then use it as material to build the body out of. So in effect,
Yeah.
it was part of her.
Yeah, she was the Damascus Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. AKA slices armor like butter.
Mm.
Formed by the lost arts of metallurgy, as Zapan said, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we could debate this one for a while. Zalom's role in the Alitaverse.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of symbology that can revolve around a shining, floating city.
Where people think it's kind of like heaven or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I want to get up there. That's what Hugo wanted to get up there because he thought life was so much better up there, you know.
It had to be a better world than the one he was living in.
I think Zalom is kind of a combination of both of them. Antagonists. I wouldn't know about Divine Observer, but they are definitely observers, you know. So because they need to control Iron City or the scrapyard, depending on if you're doing the.
Well, they might see themselves to some degree as that, at least the ones, really in power up there, because again, it's that whole arrogance born of power type thing. When you've got the power to do whatever you want, you tend to have a little bit more of a somewhat arrogant attitude towards people that are like, that you might see as, beneath you. Yeah,
I mean, they would see people in Iron City as beneath them. As a matter of fact, in your own story, I think in that chapter 26, it said something about what did Nova call the people in Iron City? I forget now. He said something about them being not like
it was
rats.
A derogatory term of some sort.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly now, but yeah.
Yeah, because he literally looks down on them because they're all, in the city beneath him.
But they also do control them as well. So, so I don't know, so I would say Zalom is probably a combination of both of those things. And what's behind that, of course, is that what they got the MIB and the GIB and I guess those are the two that come to mind right off the bat. So,
and there was also Catheres.
Yeah, Catheres above them. Yeah,
further up the space elevator.
Now
which had the power over all of Earth, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly. So yeah, it's that whole playing into that whole layers upon layers things where you got people down in one level, and then people with a little bit more power and knowledge above them in another level, kind of thing.
Well, how does Zalom view Alita's transformation? I guess I'm talking about from body to body. Probably they were.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they were probably somewhat detached from it from time to time, but I think they were really interested in it because, for one thing, for the most part, they actually threw her over the side. They thought they were going to punish her and kill her by throwing her over the side,
Mm-hmm.
So they were certainly, well engaged with, what she can do as a cyborg when she was in a berserker body. But I think from time to time, there's a certain level of detachment between Zalom and most of the people in Iron City. I mean,
I think it would depend if
ants,
Yeah, I think even if you're looking at the average citizen, they're probably going to look at it with some interest. But the ones in power would probably see it as a threat.
Yeah.
Because anything that would threaten their power, they're not going to want to have around.
Well, it's kind of like Hugo told Alita that, they would certainly, if somebody had a gun,
mm-hmm.
they consider that a threat.
Yeah, anything that could challenge their power is something that they would want outlawed and gotten rid of.
And in the manga, when she takes care of Zerkerpan, they get her, and they put her in the.
Even after she saved both cities, they end up sentencing her to death because of that one breach of law.
Yeah. And of course they were interested in her enough to give her an out,
mm-hmm.
to say, hey, look, if you work for us, we will forego your death sentence,
Yep. No, that's one way to take care of a threat to your power is to gain control over it.
Yeah, that's right. So, which kind of, you know, I guess they saw it as a benefit for them to keep her alive.
Mhm.
Because I guess in the manga, you know, she was supposed to go after Nova, you know, so.
Well, you had the twofold thing. She was supposed to go after Nova, and they were going to constantly record her abilities, what she did, and all that. And
Yeah.
basically turn her into, or once they were finished with her, eliminate her, and then use the copies they created from what they learned as their own personal army, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, they made 12 copies, didn't they?
Mhm.
So, yeah. She was A1, I guess, wasn't she? They called her A1. The others were AR1 through 12 or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, floating city is a metaphor. Yeah. That you know, probably Hugo thought that Zalem was like what some people think of heaven, I guess. Now, I guess when Alita gets up there, it ain't all it cracked up to be.
Mhm.
So, you know, I mean,
That's the thing. Probably a lot of people in Iron City see Zalem that same way, because, you know, you got this sort of golden, glittering city hanging over you.
Yeah.
And you look up there and you think, you know, it's got to be better up there.
Well, that's what Hugo said when they were on top of the church. So I wonder
In the manga, at least, you got a glimpse of some of the cults that grew up around people who, for whatever reason, started worshiping it.
yeah.
So yeah, it had a bit of an impact there.
When Alita said, you know what, I wonder what it's like up there. And he said, it's better than this dump down here, which he doesn't really know that. So
no, but he made a lot of assumptions, which people tend to do.
Yeah, they do when they see the grass is possibly greener on the other side. So and unreachable, I don't know about the purity part or corrupted divinity maybe, but unreachable, yeah, the only way you got up to Zalem is either become final champion or to get yourself hacked to bits like Shirin was, and then you get sent up to Nova to experiment with.
As experimental fodder for him in his lab.
And if you win final champion, you end up becoming an agent for Zalem anyway. So you know, I don't know if it's it's kind of a, you know, you're probably better off staying on the ground, you know, in Iron City. You know,
that was always my view of it too. I mean, it's like you've got a higher level of poverty in that area, but you've also got more freedom down there too, because you've got that highly regimented, almost completely controlled society up there.
Yeah, aka very much like Elysium in that movie.
That's actually a very good comparison, I think. Yeah,
Elysium was actually a ring around the Earth, wasn't it? From what I remember.
No, Elysium was a large space station that was built,
but it was curved, where the way, I guess, when it was spinning or something, it would get, you know, the centrifugal force would push.
Yeah, it had artificial gravity.
And then, of course, had an atmosphere in there because the gravity was holding it.
It was really big, but it was still just a space station. It wasn't like a ring around the entire Earth or anything. Yeah, it was a massive space station up there.
Well, if you remember Jodie Foster's character, I mean, she thought she was, you know, I mean, I guess that would go for everybody that lived up there. They would think it would be like living in a gated community, I guess. You know, they think they're a lot better than everybody else. And you people down on the surface, you know, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever, you know. So I would call it a little bit of both, unreachable and corrupted.
Well, I would say the first one is probably what people on the ground saw it as.
Yeah.
And the second one is probably a little closer to what it actually was.
Yeah. And if you got up there somehow, then you would realize that.
Yeah.
Well, we've had this discussion before, but folks out in the chat, do you think Alita's still human, or is she something else? Well, she's something else, but you know what I mean. What do you think, Lee? Now this would be in her Imaginos body now.
Still human.
I think
she seems to still have that spark of humanity in her.
Yeah, I think
she's got all the emotions, the empathetic connections, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think she's still human. So, AKA, what do you think? Is she still human? You know, I know he's out there. Now, she is something beyond. She's probably both because, like I've said before, and Maxie and I, yeah, AKA says definitely human. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a metahuman. Now, metahumans are humans, but when you use the term metahuman, that means their capabilities are beyond those of humans, but they're still humans.
Seems like just a different way of saying augmented human.
Augmented or enhanced. Yeah, I don't have any problem with either one of those. Yeah, that's, but yeah, she's still very human, you know. And I think basically she's a good person. I think if you became friends with her, you know, she would have that drive to, I mean, you'd be so important to her that she would, you know, that she would basically want to make sure she'd protect you and because she cares about friends and family, you know.
Well, there's only one time I ever saw her as having the first impulse being to go to violence was when she had been in the Badlands for 10 years.
Yeah.
And she had had no human contact or anything. She was just basically a puppet of Tafari's.
Yeah.
Other than that, she had always seemed to sort of default towards kindness and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, she in the Badlands art, of course, she was told that, you know, all of her friends were gone and, you know, she had.
Yeah, they basically lied to her and told her that a bunch
Yeah.
of stuff had happened that it didn't, and cut all of her connections, her support systems, I guess you could call them.
Yeah.
Which incidentally is how abusive partners will typically treat somebody. Incidentally.
Yeah.
Just thought that was an interesting comparison.
Well, what would happen if Nova built another Imaginos body?
Well, that depends. Is he just building the body, or is he putting a copy of the brain chip in it?
That would be an interesting. That would make it even a whole different story, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if he's building a second Imaginos body, that's basically just a really advanced prosthetic body.
Yeah. But let's say he put a serial killer's brain chip into it.
Oh, well,
that would be that'd be scary.
Yeah. And it turns into a horror story.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to stop the damn thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, I guess when at the end of Last Order, Alita goes to Venus, and then she comes back in Mars Chronicles in chapter 8, I guess it is, or volume 8 rather. She's not in the Imaginos body, so they now we don't know what happened. They may have had a way to for lack of a better term, disarm her,
or maybe she had to do something that caused the body to be at least partially or critically sacrificed for some reason.
Yeah, or depowered or something. Yeah.
Regardless, I think it was basically a plot device because Kashio decided she didn't need to be that powerful.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. And that's why she was in that just a regular. Well, it wasn't a regular body, but
it was still a really advanced body. But yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't the Imaginos body because.
Yeah, the ridiculously overpowered Imaginos.
Yeah, he probably said, "Oh hell, what the hell have I done?
Yeah.
I've just created somebody that's not relatable."
That wasn't power creep. That was power sprint.
Yeah, that's right. So, but I think if Nova created a second Imaginos body, I think it would depend on who got to inhabit it. If Alita damaged her Imaginos body and it was put in the one that he built, the second one, then it would be the same thing. But if she put it in some kind of narcissistic, you know, psycho.
Imagine if Nova built himself an Imaginos body.
Oh my God, that would be yeah, that'd be super scary right there. Yeah. I mean, if he was a real person, obviously, you know.
Oh yeah.
So okay, AI if AI had granted Alita, now AI or Ethereum, it would be that, you know, what Copilot came up with, you know, for the AI, the named AI entity. granted Alita a second evolution, what would that look like? Well, it would probably look like this.
Well, that's one
So
possibility. Yeah, I mean, we've seen AI basically draw upon a whole lot of data and form images based on the prompts. So it comes up with some interesting images, but some of them are just really weird.
well, AI is improving. I mean, they can,
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years ago, you couldn't generate an image that looked like that with AI.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. AKA says, what would she look like? Lots of ooh-woo. I'm surprised.
This picture right here actually reminds me of Cortana. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yes, I do know who Cortana is. Yeah.
Yeah, from Halo.
Yeah, from Halo. Yeah. Is the hair the same? I don't remember.
It's very reminiscent, actually. I think Cortana had her image had a hair that was maybe a little bit shorter than that, but about the same length.
Now, this would be more of a, how would you call it?
AKA
virtual.
Looks Native American.
I kind of disagree. And since I'm part Native American, well, let's see. Yeah, you don't see the high cheekbones. You don't see that. So not that all Native Americans have high cheekbones, but I know one time at one point I did do a video once of there was I guess a image of Alita that looked Native American. Somebody had done.
I remember that. Yeah.
I have woo too. No, I don't know about that. Yeah.
One could say that that's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, that's right. I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? Yeah. But you definitely agree that Alita has uwu. There's no doubt about that. Alita and Rosa, they both have uwu. There's no doubt. What was it Rosa said in the interview? I guess Perry asked her about, what happened with Captain America and all that stuff, and what did you think of it? She said, well, I don't get really, what'd she say? I don't get too personally, I don't take it personal or something to that effect, or else if I did, I wouldn't look this pretty. When I saw that, I said, yeah, you're pretty. So she is pretty. But yeah, I mean, I guess to another virtual being, this would be pretty, I guess. So anyway, any other thoughts of what she might look like, though? I mean,
we've seen so many examples. It's difficult for me to really nail one down, but
yeah,
I mean, that's a wide range of possibilities. So there's so many that we've seen already out there.
Yeah. Anyway, this is what Copilot came up with.
Yeah. No, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. The eyes are right in terms, not color wise, but size wise. They seem to be right. The hair is right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all of a lattice looking thing. So cool.
Got that electronic grid appearance.
So anyway, what do you guys think of this, though? These kind of images like this that are produced like that. The one there on the left, that's kind of what was in the thumbnail for the stream. Oh, what is this? I'd like to see Alita with different hairstyles.
Oh, there's actually been some pictures of those. I think you've shown them, in fact.
Yeah, I've even got some as well. That she has long hair. I think there was a Hot Toys Alita that's got blonde hair or white hair, not blonde, but white. So what's the take for you guys, including you, Lee? What how do either of these images resonate with you at all? I mean, because the one on the left is her in the Imaginos body as conceived by Copilot. So
I like the one on the left a little bit better. It looks more like her.
Yeah, it does.
Oh man,
still got a lattice buildup type of thing, but yeah. Yeah, I wonder if I can find I think I can find one that maybe AKA was talking about here. Let's see if I can find a picture of Alita with long hair. Matter of fact, I know I got one. Let's see here. Well, here's one. This is longer hair. So it's because her hair usually comes up around midway up the side of her face. This goes all the way down to her shoulders, I guess. Let's see if I can find another one. There's another one I really like that. Let's see if I can find it.
Sounds like I got a fan going in the background.
Yeah, my computer, when the CPU starts going up, it kicks into overdrive trying to keep it cool. This one right here, I remember. See, she's got real long hair there. I remember this about 3 or 4 years ago. I said, how many of you got Alita Army types would like to take her to the beach? And I got like a ton of responses. AKA says he likes the left picture too because it's looks. I guess it's she has an innocent look. Okay. Yeah, the beach picture was that's really a pretty picture for sure. One more and then we'll move on, I guess. The one I was thinking of is see if I can find it here because I've got a ton of these pictures of Alita. So that one.
Yeah.
Now that was done by, I can't remember which app, but that picture is pretty old right there. That one's probably 4 years old, maybe 3 or 4 years old, way before AI was. Yeah, that is really pretty for sure. Okay, well, I think we had all this hard enough, I think. So I guess we figured out what the Imaginos body is, right? So it's definitely a machine body, but it's its technology is really super advanced, composed of Imaginos cells that were derived or designed from Berserker cells as a basis. We talked about human consciousness versus AI. See, I think the whole thing about human consciousness is that is sentience, where AI is not sentient, and I think that separates them. Now, certainly we don't know what sentience is, as we discussed. And of course, the Damascus
or consciousness is,
or consciousness either, for that matter, because animals are conscious. I mean, so some are maybe somewhat sentient, and of course we talked about the Damascus blade and her ability to fight. Okay, we do know that Zalom's role in the Alitaverse certainly is both as not only an observer, but they also they manipulate, they control, they're an antagonist, And of course we went over some images and what y'all thought. So one in the manga where she has oh gosh, the Aussie's got me. I said manga. Where she has a ponytail. I don't recall seeing that.
I think I remember that one.
Is that in that?
It was very briefly showed. I don't think it was that one. I think it was when she was still with the that mercenary company.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's pretty much it, Lee. I don't think we missed anything, did we?
Nothing I can think of. It might have been. I can't remember exactly where I saw it, but yeah, it might have been there.
Yeah, it might have been there. Yeah. Oh, well, anyway, so anyway, I guess we didn't miss anything. I mean, it was kind of a short topic, I guess, a little bit. So anyway, you see from that center panel there, Alita does love her Uncle Creek, and that's because he wants a sequel just like she does.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this time I do have a topic in advance, so next week we're going to do another manga. Oh, Aussie's almost got me again. We're going to do another manga reading of chapter 22 out of Mars Chronicles. If we keep going at this rate, I will eventually read chapter 10, won't I?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Confession of a Maggot. No, that he looks like a poor old soul, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And there's our queen right there, of course. And, we are really fortunate that she played Alita in the movie. She knocked it out of the park for sure, so our queen is really pretty. There's no doubt about it. And I want to give shout outs to El Lamont and Jesse Fisher as well. They brought Screwhead to life. And I want to see Screwhead and Alita team up against Josh Agon. That's what I want to see. Tomorrow on Radio Chaos, I don't know who's going to be the. Yeah, that's right. AKA, I should have put those hearts up when Rose's picture was up there. So anyway, and Elle and Jesse's. I think when Jesse was on, Angelus and I both proposed to her, I think. Well, of course, we were kidding. So anyway, tomorrow we're going to talk about Alita in Figure 4. And that this is one of my favorite subjects right here because particularly the fight. She just beats the crap out of him in the desert. I love that. So anyway, but did she settle, and we don't need to talk about that here. I have my opinion of that, but we're going to chat about it. And, we talk a little bit about the nature of their relationship and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what we call a palm strike there, AKA. So that's, if you're going to hit somebody in the face, which I do not condone, but if you're going to do it, don't do it with your fist. You want to do it with the open hand, a palm strike. It's more effective and you don't damage your wrist.
Or the heel of your hand or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So join us for that. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, look at his eyes. Yeah, one of the things about that too is I remember they were fighting, and as he thought he was just going to overpower because he's big. He's big and strong.
He badly underestimated how fast she is.
Oh yeah, that was one of his thoughts. Was God, she's fast. So it's really funny. So she just literally stomped him to death. Not to death, but she took care of him.
She didn't even really have to exert herself. She slapped him around.
Yeah, and I don't think she wanted to hurt him. I think she, I think she was having fun, is what I was thinking she was doing. And he was trying to give it all he had to beat her, and she was just toying with him, So, and he kept getting up, and I think she eventually said, "What is wrong with this guy?" So, and of course, on the Alita live stream, we're going to be here next week, and we're going to keep doing this until we get the sequel. When we get the sequel, I'm going to keep doing this because I want a trilogy, and that, like Lee has convinced me, I want a trilogy of trilogies. So we want 9 movies is what I want. So and I want merch, and I want a new anime, and I want TV series and the game and all that good stuff. Yeah, somebody put on one of my videos, why isn't there a rollerball game? Well, that's a good question. Why isn't there, not rollerball, motorball? Why isn't there a motorball game? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. And of course, that's who we all are. Actually, what I'm supposed to do is this. Supposed to scroll that in, but oh well, that's all right, So yeah, we have fun doing this stream. Smendrick's up there. Smendrick is still fighting he's still having some health issues. So
have you heard from him lately?
Not lately. I mean, he was on the stream, about, what was it, about a month ago, wasn't it, or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Came on the stream, but he's having some awful issues with his eyes. So
I hope he starts feeling better soon.
Yeah, really. So but he's still hanging in there, and he said, yeah, let's keep pitching for that sequel. He sent me that on Discord. So and if you want to, basically, if you want to come and talk to Lee and I, we're going to stay on here at least a few minutes just to see if anybody shows up. I'll put a link in the chat here if you want to come on. Yeah, AKA, I hope Smedrick's feeling well too. We get better real soon. Anyway, there's the link. If you click on it, you can come on. We'll chat. And we can talk about Alita and all that good stuff. We have fun on these after parties. We sometimes show, different photos or images and stuff like that. We'll even play a video here and there. It's not streamed. This is strictly, this is like a Zoom call. It's kind of like what you would see if you were on one of those voice channels.
Yeah, it's just hanging out in the voice chat.
Yeah, that's right. So you get to talk to us, and we don't bite. Whereas Maxie would say, we don't bite unless you ask us to. And then even then, we don't bite very hard. So, but click on that link and I'll bring you in. We are the Alita Army. We are the friendliest fandom on the internet. We support Alita and Rosa passionately and positively. And we are here to stay. We are not going anywhere. We are going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to keep advocating for Alita and Rosa until we get that sequel, and even beyond that, because I want more than just a sequel. So anyway, and this is what Superman thinks of that.
Yeah, Gary, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it sure would be. Yeah, if we got a sequel.
Yep.
So anyway. So why is this image why is it here? Well, it's there because I like it. And to paraphrase Gruishka, I'm only here for our girl and our queen and the Alita Army. And of course, all of us are only here for our girl and our queen because we want those sequels. Come on, Disney, give us those sequels, damn it.
Yeah, stop being allergic to money.
Really, because we will hand you our money. We will give it to you hand over fist. We'll buy merch. Many of us will go see the movie 100 times like some of the folks did, So come on, Disney, let's get with it. So I guess that only leaves one thing, Lee, and that's for you and I to do the call to action. And that would be on my count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Film those sequels, baby. So anyway, we'll catch you guys next week on the Alita Livestream, and we will catch you tomorrow on Radio Chaos.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.